Hi everyone, I'm Huub Hildenbrand. Thanks for tuning into my channel, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. Today we have a little bit of more theory class here, and it was quite a long time ago actually where I really felt the need to organize all these scales, all these possibilities. I mean, you around this globe you find so many cultures which use like really sometimes like very different kind of scales, and to get a sort of to arrange these and to organize them into categories, I really felt the need. And today we will talk about one category, and this is like almost all the possible scales we are using in Western music, even some more, and I call this the regular scales, so the normal scales, the regular scales. So that's the first category. Later on, in other lessons, we will check out other categories, but for now, we go into that. So let's get right into the endless ocean of music. For this lesson, there's also a PDF file. It's a good idea to download that and to support my channel, of course, because I can't explain everything what's written there. There's 3 pages, and yeah, as I already told you in the introduction, it's about the regular scales, and I found like 3 simple rules how to construct scales, and if you use these rules you come up with 33 different scales which are more or less used in our music. I mean, some are, of course, are more advanced and so, and maybe there are missing still also some scales, but most of the scales you will find there, and that's quite interesting. And we will discuss these rules, and we also can categorize these 33 scales into actually like 7 parent scales. So that's our topic of today. The first thing we want to do, we want to build scales only by seconds. So a scale in our definition is are like seconds stacked up, or second, another second, another second, another second, until we reach the octave. That's the first thing. Because we also have the category of like pentatonic scales, or scales which use wider intervals, and so intervals which exceed the range of 3 half steps. Because 3 half steps can also be a second, like an augmented second. So that's the next important thing we consider. We have 3 different kinds of seconds. We have the minor second, like 1 half step. We have the major second, 2 half steps, and we have the augmented second, 3 half steps. It doesn't make sense to have a doubly augmented second because this really doesn't exist. Maybe it exists in theory, but if you play a doubly augmented second, you will just hear a major third. It's so obvious. And also a diminished second, diminished second would be just a unison. So it's hard to hear unison as a diminished second, I think. Okay, so our building blocks are seconds, and we have 3 different ones. Now we add some rules, and these rules are really really interesting actually, because they have there's a lot of data, a lot of theory implied actually, that the outcome is really a scale we can use with our in our way here. So the rules are, first, let's take the order here. Yeah, a major second can be followed by another major second or a minor second. First rule. Next rule. A minor second, or is it the right order? Yeah. A minor, because I also follow this PDF file so that you can relate what I say to the file, to the paper here. A minor second can be followed by a major second, or can be also followed by a augmented second. And the third rule is an augmented second can only be followed by a minor second. And in these two rules before, it's also stated that an augmented second can't follow a major second. It can only follow a minor second, and the minor, I mean the interval what follows an augmented second can only be a minor second. Why? Why is it like that? The thing is, to really hear that you have an augmented second, you need these half steps below and above. I show you. If you have like an E, an F, a G sharp, and an A, then these four notes, they really make very obvious that you have an augmented second. If I play that, yeah, that's the typical sound of an augmented second. It has a really Oriental or Indian or Balkan like flavor. Okay, so why is it that I can't have a major second preceding an augmented second? I can say, okay, I have an E flat, an F, a G sharp, and an A. So now you may notice that in a way the sound of this augmented second is gone. And what it's suggesting here, so there's one question mark actually, because now you can ask yourself, which note is missing here? And you can do two things. You can have this note here. I mean, you can not two things. You have actually just one possibility. Sorry, because it suggests that you have actually a note here also. It's not completely clear that this is an augmented second. Yeah, it's a bit, you just can say, maybe it's an augmented second, but I'm not sure. Maybe there's just a note missing. Whereas here in these regular scales, and I think your ears will also tell that to you, although everything is possible, you know, I mean, every combination, and especially like South Indian Carnatic music scales, like these Melkarta system of 72 different scales, really strange scales. There's a lot of different scales. So I'm not talking about it's forbidden, I'm just talking about a certain category, a certain sound, which is more regular, more straightforward. And also this makes then later, this gives us a distinction to the other sounds. So we can say, yeah, this sounds very like Indian or this kind of a style, or very different, because there are some of one or more rules of what we are discussing here for the regular scales is just broken. It's not there. It's neglected. So, and the thing is, when we have this augmented second, minor second, augmented second, minor second, we can't have a note in between, because in between we can only have this note or that note, and in both cases we have two half steps following each other, and we have this as a rule, as a second rule, that a minor second can only be followed with an augmented second or a major second, and the reason is to avoid chromatic. That's the important point here. If we have a half step, with these regular scales, we say it sounds chromatic. Although later on, next category, it will be, we see that it's not necessarily chromatic, but it's a huge, let's say it's a huge step from these regular scales where we never use like two half steps following each other, or a half step following another half step. The sound is very different than if you really follow these three rules. You have really a complete different kind of a sound, which is much more clear in a way. And also there are different other criteria or different rules or laws which will just be a result of following these three rules. Okay, so let's keep that to remember. Two half steps sound chromatic. That means the tone in between, that major second actually sounds just like as a chromatic passing tone. So it sounds actually, we have that note and we have that note, la da la da, and we just go la da di da da. We just move chromatic between them. So if I have this augmented second, it sounds augmented, but if I insert a note, it sounds like also you hear that the sound really changes. It's really like the chromatic thing is really a new aspect. And as I always, because I have this in the back of my head now all the time, it's shouting at me that there are so nice scales where actually this minor seconds following each other is not chromatic, and it's really beautiful and really working nice. But anyway, that's really a different topic. Actually, you can get a good explanation of that if you go back to the playlist here on Guitar Academia, and you go to four note structures, or even 3-note structures, and there you have this idea of a chromatic triad, and you have to check out that. Maybe it's in the first lesson already of these 19 possible 3-note structures there are. This idea of chromatic triad, where the middle note is actually the kind of the root, the most important note, and the other are just Yeah, it's not that the other notes are like, it's like a major second, and it's just a note in between, a chromatic note. It's that note. And for example, yeah, there it doesn't really sound chromatic, but it's a different category. Yeah, so it's not about what we are talking about, the regular scales. They are the right scales, and they are the good scales, and everything else is evil. No, that's of course not. Okay, now we look at the results we get if we follow these three rules. And it's written here, this results in the following laws. Okay, so only two can follow after itself, so it's not possible to have a minor second and another minor second, or an augmented second and another augmented second. That's only possible with the two. The augmented second can be only reached, and it can also only follow and precede a minor second. That's where we talked about that. There's also another explanation here. The third law is clear. This minor second, another minor second is chromatic. Now, the fourth law is very interesting, because this has a lot to do with our music, the way we hear our music in the West, and how we construct also chords. If we follow these three rules, we make sure that on every scale degree we can build a third. And this third is always reached by taking one note, skipping the next, going to the third note. Yeah, from 1 to 3. From every note we can go from 1 to 3, and from every note we will get a minor third or a major third. And on this page there are all these different combinations you get, these different kinds of major and minor thirds. So if that law is there, it's also clear that you can build on every scale degree a triad, like one of the four traditional triads. You can either a major triad, a minor triad, a diminished triad, or an augmented triad. There's no scale degree where you can't do that, and it's always the first, third, and fifth note from every scale degree. All right, let me look what's written there. Following the rule. Yeah, on the second page you see this scheme, this graphic, and here we start with E. E is actually mostly our root here at Guitar Academia, because it's here, and the guitar really is an E minor or whatever instrument, I think. I mean, it's most natural for the guitar. So it's Guitar Academia. It's not about like theory in general in a way. It's all applied to guitar. So we also can play all these scales by just playing our E and then play the scale from here, for example. That's a good idea actually to do. That's a nice exercise. So you start with the E on the left, and then you see all these vertical lines. They are like half steps. Yeah. Every line is a new half step. So we have these 12 half steps, and then we reach the octave, the E again. And what we are doing, we just follow these three rules. From E, it's just one note. We can go an augmented second, so we will reach the F double sharp. Then we can go in major second, we go to F sharp, or we can have a minor second to the F. Yeah, so you see this connecting line. So we have three possibilities going from E. So if we look at the F double sharp now, we have only the possibility to go a half step to G sharp, because from an augmented second we only can go a minor second. And I think that is all you need now to understand this thing. And just yeah, what I just said is maybe a great idea to just play all these scales, to play this E, and then you go through the first one. So like E, F double sharp, G sharp, A double sharp, B sharp, D sharp, E. That's already a very different kind of a scale. It has like 2 augmented seconds in it, and it's also called like symmetrical, but we will see this on the next page. So you see there on this page, on this graph, you see all possibilities, and you end up with 33 possibilities. Now I did that. And when I had all these possibilities, I looked at it and I analyzed them, because I wanted to know which belong together. Because as you know, like we have these church modes, these like Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, and so on, and these 7 modes you also, of course, you have on this page, but they belong, you can say, to this parent scale of major or Ionian, the major scale. So 7 of them belong to that group, and that's really good to know, because they also share some similar kind of quality, you can say. For example, they don't have any augmented second there, and they have maximum 3 major seconds following each other. So, for example, yeah, this already gives them a certain quality, and yeah, it's a different division of the octave, of course. And also keep in mind that you can't divide an octave like in a symmetric way, so that something is repeating, with an odd number of notes. It will always be not symmetric. That's like a second category we have here. I mean, we can divide our category of regular scales in 2 groups. We have 7-note scales, which are non-symmetrical. And we have 6 and 8 notes scales, which are symmetrical. That is the result of these 3 rules. And when you turn the page to page 3, you see these 7 different parent scales. And I have a kind of an abbreviation for that. For example, major means, I abbreviate major with just M and a small a. Whereas minor is in capital M and a small I. So harmonic minor is HMI. H for harmonic, and yeah, you see that. You see always the full name of that parent scale and then the abbreviation in brackets. So you have these 4 big groups, these 4 parent scales, which every parent scale is like a system, you can say. It's like a certain, equals also a group of 7 modes. So every of these 4 parent scales, 7-note scales, they have all 7 modes. So these are actually, every scale are in fact like, every scale are in fact 7 scales. So you have 28 scales there in the first. You can build from the first 4 parent scales, 4 times 7, and because they are all non-symmetric, all these 7 modes will be different. Yeah, there's no repetition. Whereas with the symmetric scales, for the first one, you have the whole tone scale, WT. This scale has just 1 mode, because on every scale degree it's just the same. It's just major seconds. So it divides the octave exact in 6 equal parts. Then you have the symmetric augmented scale, SA, and this scale is built by using an augmented second and a minor second, and again an augmented second and a minor second, and then an augmented second and a minor second. And when you look at it, you see you can have actually 2 modes. One mode is starting with an augmented second, and the other mode is to start with a minor second, and then go 6 notes up, and then you reach the octave again. And that's a symmetric division of the scale. So in a way you divide the scale into 4 parts, and each of the 4 parts has the same structure. Augmented second, minor second, or the other mode, minor second, augmented second. So this interval of a major third, so to speak, is just repeating twice, and then you reach the full octave. Similar with the next scale, it's half-tone, whole-tone scale. So this scale is also very common in jazz, and I think also these whole-tone scale and half-tone, whole-tone scale is like a typical, like also Debussy thing, but I'm not really sure. This is something you just hear, and then you think it is like that. I never have analyzed this music. Okay, so this half-tone, whole-tone scale is like minor second, major second, minor second, major second, minor second, major second. So this DNA, so to speak, is a minor second, major second. This is a minor third. And this repeats every minor third and divides the octave into 4 equal divisions. And you have 2 modes. You can start with a minor second, and you can start second mode with a major second. So these symmetrical scales there are 3 parent scales, but there are only 5 possible modes you can generate from these. So going back to the second page, you see you will understand all these abbreviations, which are vertically on the right. So you have SA. You can look at it, the third page. Oh, okay, it's symmetric augmented. And the number after this abbreviation refers to on which degree you will find that scale. So you see, okay, it's symmetric augmented, and there's a 1. So it's the first mode. It's starting from the first node of this symmetric augmented scale. So it starts with an augmented second. And then you on the second line, you see it's harmonic major 6th mode. So when you look at harmonic major on the third page, you also see the numbers on top of each note. So if you have E harmonic major, but you build your scale from the C, that's the 6th tone. So you start from C. So you have a structure which is augmented second, so C to D sharp, then a minor second from D sharp to E, then from E to F sharp, major second, from F sharp to G sharp, major second, from G sharp to A, minor second, from A to B, major second, and then again from to C, from B to C, minor second. So you have the whole octave, and of course every mode you can transpose. You can take the same structure, and remember all these structures, they are all different. So you will always end up with different notes if you transpose these modes, for example, to E. All transposing to E, you have like 33 different scales, and these scales, of course, you see on the second page, because they all are transposed starting with the E as a fundamental, as a root. Okay, and these abbreviations, they are actually just scientific inventions, so to speak. They're just like very, I would say, like non-musical labels. So we say like, and we these maybe with these maybe whole tone WT, maybe this is actually used in as a common abbreviation for the scale, whole tone scale, just WT. But all the others, actually, I made them up. They actually not really exist in the practical musical world. As I said, this is a bit about theory here, and but I hope you got this idea, you got this approach, you understand what's happening here. And in a later lesson, we will, of course, we will talk about all these different modes and what the names are. I think with major, it's quite clear, because there are just these different church modes. You have Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. But with the others is a bit different, and also harmonic major is not so common, but you can use it for some sounds, and in some circumstances, in some situations, it's really great to use like a mode of that scale also. Melodic minor is very, very common in jazz. Harmonic minor is very, very common in classical music also. I mean, to derive chords from that especially, but also in maybe more Oriental music, Balkan, of the Balkan, or also in more folk music, you can also find that. And you have some nice modes which are used very frequently, so they are very, very common. So there are some sounds which are a bit strange, bit like, but this is more, that has to do more with what we like, what we enjoy, which sounds we pick. Just in general, all these 33 scales, they belong to the same category. And this category has like two under categories. That's the 7-note non-symmetric scales, 4 parent scales, or 28 scales, modes, and 3 symmetric parent scales, where 2 of them have 2 modes, so they are 5 different possible symmetric scales. Okay? This is really helpful if you want to organize all different kinds of scales you find around the globe. And when you compare them with other scales, like with pentatonic scales, or with some like Indian music scales, or some Turkish makam scales, you see that these are different. There are some for most of us, it needs a bit of a time to adjust our ears to these kind of scales. They sound different. They sound foreign, and that's there in these three rules. There's something of that concept, or of this DNA implied in a way. So for me, this was quite a discovery, actually, when I did that, when I found out about these rules. I think it was because I thought about like all different kinds of scales, and then I thought about I knew that it's like there's a major scale like harmonic minor, melodic minor, and harmonic major, and I was thinking about, is there maybe another of those, of that kind of category? And then I found out about these categories, and I found out, no, actually, these are the four parent scales, and there's not any more of them in that under category. So there's not any more, not any more like 7-note scale which has these features. So no chromatic and not a feeling of maybe there's just a note missing because I use an augmented second and don't follow with a major second, or don't precede the augmented second with a major second. Okay, this is just actually theory here. It's just in a way knowledge, but it's also a good. I think it's very good to arrange and what was this other word? I forgot words now. To categorize or organize the different scales. That you know, okay, these scales belong into that group. So that's that. And this is a different thing because of this kind of different way of constructing the scales. All right, I hope it was kind of helpful for you, or you get some different ideas, or maybe you just get like new scales. You can just jump on it and just play, and you will. I'm sure that you will make some discoveries and some nice sounds, and maybe some stuff you didn't know before. I hope so. So I hope you like these lessons on Guitar Academia. If so, please subscribe to my channel. There will be a new video published every Friday. And so if you subscribe, you also get notifications about every new video. And also you can donate. This would be really great. You can just follow the link down in the description below. Go to my website on the Guitar Academia site. There on top there is a button where you can donate, and you can pay different, I think PayPal and another possibility there. I'm not exactly sure right now, but I think you have two possibilities. And yeah, this would be really cool that you really think, yeah, that's really worth it. This channel is great. It's really helping me, and there are a lot of great stuff, and to support that. All right, that was it for that lesson. Thanks for watching. My name is Huub Hildenbrand.